is up, guys, and welcome back to another Grimlock video. Today we are going to be going over how to survive in arenas and in solo shuffle and pretty much in any PvP instance as a Devastation Evoker. Yeah, we're going to basically be going over, we're going to review one of my solo shuffle games. I'm just going to be going step by step through the whole solo shuffle and basically explaining my mindset and what I'm doing in the moment. And also, you know, this will also kind of cover a little bit of how to do damage and stuff like that, but mainly how we're living and how we're staying afloat during the game so that we can live more than one go, because I know a lot of you Devastation Evokers will get one go off, and before you even get to your second go, the game is already over. You're probably going to die, and it happens all the time. Our class is a glass cannon spec, so yeah, without further ado, let's get right into this solo shuffle VOD review. Alrighty, guys, so getting right into it, I think we are going to review my part 4 of my Zero to Legend series. If you have not checked it out, please go check it out. Yeah, this is a 6-0 for me, but there's plenty of things I could have done way better. So yeah, this is a Ret Paladin Windwalker Arms Warrior lobby. It's pretty tough, actually, for us Devokers to deal with Ret Warriors specifically, because the double freedom on 2 melee DPS is super scary. So yeah, I play Null Shroud here, which isn't bad at all. The only problem is we're playing against a Shaman, so as you can see right off the rip, I get Null Shroud out, and boom, he goes for 1 purge, and somehow instead of it purging anything else, it purges off 2 stacks of my Null Shroud right off the rip. So that's always fun. That was kind of super unlucky, I'd say. This is an insane bash into... I was going to go for a sleepwalk, but then I realized he's casting clone, so I stopped and let him get the clone off, because clone is way more valuable than a sleepwalk. This warrior does get a double fear here, and this is perfect for me to set up some damage on. So yeah, this is ideal opener, basically. I have 1 stack of Null Shroud left, which I believe gets purged off right there, and if that didn't get purged off and this disorient didn't happen, this would have been a way cleaner go, and I would have been way less in danger in a couple of seconds. But yeah, so just to go over this opener again really quick, guys. Yeah, so I'm playing Null Shroud, like I said, versus double melee. This is pretty good. The only thing they have is this purge, which he happens to get off everything somehow. And then again, you can see I'm pulling really far away here. I don't want to be up in their business, especially versus Ret Windwalker, 2 of the highest burst classes in the game. So I'm pulling this Windwalker pretty far, and my Druid does the great thing of bash cloning him. This basically just brings him out of the fight, makes us an instant 3v2 with the clone, and then my warrior makes it an instant 3v1 with this sphere. So this is a really great start. I will say I went behind this pillar to Dragon Rage because I didn't want the Pyre to break the fear on either of them coming out from the Dragon Rage. So I intentionally Dragon Rage into the pillar so that the Pyre just breaks on the pillar. Well, it doesn't go off. It doesn't hit anything because I'm out of line of sight of them. You can see I'd stack up my Essence Bursts. I go for the Suppressive Roar, and he purges off the very last Null Shroud, and I get hit by the Disorient. And this is the greediest trinket of my life. It's the worst trinket of my life. And either way I trinket, I get a pretty fat Deep Breath here, I will say. And instead of, for some reason, I use my mobility to pull myself back in here. And instead of immediately respecting the fact that this is Serenity and Wings and pressing my shield wall and Renewing Blaze like I would every other situation, I go for my Eternity Surge cast, get leg swept on it, and I have no cooldowns up, no trinket, and thank God this Druid is insane. He presses Iron Bark on me and Overgrowth and Cenarian Ward, and I get Intervene. So luckily I won this round, or didn't lose this round immediately, purely because my other teammates were actually on top of their stuff. But yeah, you can see I actually popped my wall and Renewing Blaze out of this. Completely unnecessary too, so this is also a misplay by me. I still go for my damage here, even though I don't have Shattering Star active. I just want to get a little bit of damage rolling because I was falling kind of behind on where I should be. Even though I'm doing top damage, I still should have been way higher in damage. No, I immediately out of all this cluster here. One, they're in an Earthen Shield, so I want to pull them really far away. And the Shaman's playing over here, so I'm not going to pull them out into the open over here so that the Shaman can free cast. Instead, I'm going to pull them back over here so that I have this pillar to kind of mess with the Shaman. So again, want to be out of line of sight of the healer as much as possible. This inherently pushes pressure. I know this video is super blurry, by the way, but it inherently pushes pressure on the melee DPS because they can't stick on you forever if you're line of sighting their healer. They have to peek their healer eventually, and sooner or later they have to run to a new target or they have to get off of you. But you can see anything that gets near me, I just start punishing with damage. I pull this monk super far. He presses dampen harm here. I probably should have slept him here. But instead of going for sleeps, I go for disintegrate, and that was kind of bad. I should have slept the Windwalker there. But he does diffuse magic here for some reason. I don't know why he diffuses. And I noticed I pulled myself way far from my druid. So I was like pulling, kiting. I'm already out of range of my druid here. But, you know, still kiting. And now I'm line of sighting my druid. So if I get leg swept here, which luckily he doesn't have it off cooldown for another 30 seconds, or hodged here, this could be like lights out. Of course, he doesn't have hodge either. But it could be lights out if I got stunned here either way. I could die 100%. So I like make the executive decision to rescue myself and the warrior out. And you notice this sack comes out. So realistically, we should have swapped the Ret Pally here, which is actually what I wanted to do. But the warrior kept going into the Windwalker monk. So you can see I pressed the Eternity Surge on the Ret, but warrior was just trucking this Windwalker monk this whole time. And I was like, wait, does he not have karma? And then he karma'd me, and I was like, okay, so he does have karma. And so even though I knew he had karma, it's just like, you know, it's like, does he press it kind of thing? And so, yeah, we force a lot here outside of our go just by basic damage rotation. So, yeah, we get our Shattering Star, Eternity Surge into a Fire Breath. We land on everything, force the Karma because that's his last defensive. And the Paladin is our next target because he has the only defensive the Paladin has now at this point is the bubble. So we want to force that. We do force Trinket from the Shaman. I want to see what forces this Trinket, actually. I have no clue. So it's a 3-second clone. So it's a half clone, which is what forces Trinket, which is nice. Which is a respectable Trinket, honestly. His Paladin, he doesn't want his Paladin to bubble. And his Paladin presses Shield Wall at like 20% health. And so it's not enough. And he ends up pressing bubble. He probably could have gotten away with not bubbling here and been a little greedy. Because this Shaman, like I said, just Trinketed and pressed Spirit Walkers. And he got an Ascendance proc. And so he's pressing... Is he playing actual Ascendance? I think he's... Yeah, I think he actually Ascendance. Yeah, so this is his actual Ascendance. So he definitely didn't need to bubble here, but he did. You know, it's Solo Shuffle. You guys overlap things all the time. It's just how it is. So I have Obsidian Metal active here. And basically all I'm going for is just peeling and being safe until my next go. If I can make it to my next go. I do know that I have this Eternity Surge Fire Breath coming up in 4 seconds. So I'm playing around that. I'm not using my Shattering Star until then. But yeah, so we force the bubble, and my druid starts landing some really good clones. So yeah, he gets hodged here. So I go for a Sleepwalk on the Shaman, which is crazy that he lets me get that because he could have just either wind sheared me or tremor totemed or anything like that. So yeah, I got the Eternity Surge the Shattering Star into Eternity Surge here. The Paladin misses his kick on my Eternity Surge. This is a really good Storm Bolt too. And so I'm just cranking damage. I insta-kill the Spirit Link, which is really nice. He does relocate it, so it hits all 3 of them, which is actually really good by him. And yeah, so we forced every single cooldown they have now. Anybody could be a kill target. I'm going to go anything that is easier for my warrior to do damage to. So the Paladin presses Bop, so I'm going immediately on the Windwalker because I know that's what my warrior is going to be hitting. I do press Renewing Blaze here because I am at like half health. I'm a little scared. And this is a great clone. This prevents a lot of damage on me. And because of the Bop, he can't, like my warrior can't do damage to this guy. So basically this is an unkillable target, so you might as well clone it. So that was a really good clone. He does get hodged full here. I do have a rescue up, so if I need to, I will rescue myself. I'm just kiting really far here though, so I don't think I need the rescue just yet. And I do go for pretty big damage here. This is a great Stormbolt again, and we just crank him here. Boom, absolutely annihilate him. So yeah, basically that opener was terrible and my team carried me super hard, and then the rest of the game was played pretty well kiting. Like I said, you just want to pull yourself and line of sight of their healer as much as possible when you're fighting melee, and you'll see I do that in multiple games. Some games I just go the healer even, just to put pressure on them. But yeah, so this is versus Ret Warrior. This is going to be the hardest game for us, especially because it's a druid. But yeah, so press Dragon Rage really early here. You'll see I get Thunderous Roared here. I should dispel this, which I do. I dispel the Thunderous Roar off myself. And I wanted to send my Deep Breath here, like on this pillar, so I could hit the Druid. And it like bugged out, so I just ended up sending it on the DPS, missing everything. Well, I hit them, but this guy was Blade Storming. So it didn't actually stun him, which was kind of a shame. It just did some damage. But yeah, I get my full go onto this Pally, and he does not respect the damage of Serenity and Dragon Rage at all. So I just nuke him, like, do a stupid amount of damage to this guy. So yeah, you can see it again here. I don't even have to kick or anything on this Druid, which is crazy. But yeah, big dam, boom, instant cast the Fire Breath. The Fire Breath does purge off a decent amount of hots too, which is nice. Oh, actually, I'm not playing the Fire Breath purge here. Sorry. But yeah, so I actually cranked them here. This could have been entirely preventable if this Pally had actually, like, respected my damage. You can see I did all the damage there too. This Windwalker Monk didn't even do his damage really fully yet. So yeah. And this was also going to be kind of hard because I don't really play with Rets that often as a Devastation Evoker. And yeah, so we go for a Null Shroud early on here. I want to get on their side of the map, ideally. I don't want to really play on my side of the map. Force this Windwalker to chase me here. And this Windwalker actually chases me super far. Like, I did not expect him to chase me all the way onto our side of the map, which is really bad for him. I do try to land this Deep Breath off this Hodge, and this Druid goes for something cheeky here. He goes for a Shadow Meld. You can see he prowls, and he tries to Rake Stun me, which instead of it stunning me, I have Null Shroud up, so it just eats the stun, and now he's like in the perfect spot. He has no Hots active, and I just start cranking this Druid, just absolutely dominating him. This is kind of scary for my Shaman too, by the way, because they're both pressing their burst, and my Shaman has Trinket though, so he Trinket shield walls, which is respectable, and at the same time the Druid just gets melted by me entirely. I don't know where my Pally was here. I don't know why he wasn't with me, but he wasn't. Instead, he was just getting cleaved, so making it even harder for our Shaman. But nonetheless, we crank the rest of our Druid, and sometimes that's just how it is. Sometimes you just have to absolutely parse on the Devastation Evoker. Sometimes it's easier. This guy was like, yeah, I'll triple leg sweep for sure. I'm like, okay. He doesn't, but yeah, you know, he tried. I'm trying to bait the Shaman to kick me early, but he doesn't. Again, you can see here. So again, something really crucial for Devastation Evoker is to be proactive with your buttons. Almost every one of these rounds, besides the first round, I use my Shield Wall and my Renewing Blaze off the rip, and this forces them off of me entirely. If they go me, I'm perfectly fine. And if they don't go me, I have a Shield Wall or an Aura Mastery active. This is a super, super clutch Blessing of Spell Warding by this Paladin here. You can see, boom, 24k health this guy drops to right here. If I crit, he's dead. If I crit either of those, he dies 100%. But yeah, I press an Eternity Surge here. You can see 1 second on global. And as the Eternity Surge is about to come out, he presses Blessing of Spell Warding, which immunes not Eternity Surge, the Disintegrate. So it immunes the Disintegrate. But this is an amazing opener by us, right? So we force Shield Wall from the Shaman. We force Rally Cry. We force Hand of Sacrifice. We force Blessing of Spell Warding. It's just pretty much every cooldown in the game. So now I know all we have to do is just live. So I'm like, you know what? I might as well just do damage to anything in sight, which I just go on the Warrior because he's out of line of sight of the Shaman. You know, try to do as much damage as possible. I want to just keep myself alive. Keep myself distanced because I know we win this game in the next like 30 seconds most likely. And yeah, so you can see I'm just kiting this Pally. I know he doesn't have freedom, so I keep slow on him. And yeah, this is our go here, and we just kill instantly. So yeah, they overused their cooldowns. Honestly, the Shaman still had Link, but I think he got a little overwhelmed. Maybe he thought he didn't need it because he wasn't in a CC. But when you're at half health and you're getting Eternity Surge, there's always that factor that you're just gonna get hit by for 500k. So yeah, we just global the Shaman after they overuse cooldowns. There is a chance that this Pally could have maybe lay on hands him too. I think he's off. Oh, he's not off Forbearance yet. So yeah, he has like 3 seconds left on Forbearance. Yeah, he was still on Forbearance when he died. So there is not a chance that this Paladin could have saved this Shaman. Shaman had to press Spirit Link there, or else they just lose, which they did, which is fine. That happens, you know, some games, especially as a Devastation Evoker. Again, we do so much damage so fast that it's kind of like it's bound to happen. But overall, the main crucial thing is don't be afraid to press your Obsidian Scales and your Renewing Blaze like off the rip when you're doing your go, because one, this forces the melee off of you because they know they can't kill you, and two, this saves your team from using cooldowns like, you know, crazy like Ascendants or anything like that, or like Rallying Cry. It prevents them from using their cooldown so that they can use those later on to carry you to your next burst. You want to utilize your buttons early as a Devastation Evoker. You want to be proactive, really, really proactive as a Devastation Evoker. Definitely don't be afraid of pressing stuff early. Okay, get locked here. I could have stopped this clone. I think the Shaman stops it for himself or something. Oh no, the Warrior gets cloned. Sorry, my bad. All right. Yeah, so Warrior gets cloned. I don't know why the Warrior didn't kick it. Warrior definitely could. Oh, no, he was right stunned. Okay. Yeah, this is kind of a bad opener because now my Warrior is all the way over here. He can't safeguard my Shaman, and he gets Vortex. So this Warrior is kind of out of the picture completely. This is a 2v3. So I decide to take it upon myself in a Pressing Roar and go for a triple stun here. I know the Druid's like right here. So I'm like, I think I'll hit him, and I do. And yeah, the Warrior leaps in fears. Now, I don't know if this fear was necessary, but it did force the trinket from both of them for some reason, so that was kind of crazy. And we're cranking this this Ret. This Ret is getting absolutely shredded. He does bubble here, which is crazy because I think he bubbles like really low. Yeah, he bubbled at 70k health. If he waited one more global, he would have died 100%. And so I immediately swapped to this Resto Druid who has no hots and is right next to me in the open. Absolutely cranking. Immediately force Iron Bark as well as Incarn. So yeah, it's super rough from them right now. All I know is I have to live. I could have easily kicked this clone. I don't know why I didn't. But yeah, we just live again. We forced everything we needed to in the opener. I get a sleepwalk off the lasso, which ends up getting dispelled. And yeah, I'm cranking damage into this red again. We had our Eternity Surge up. You know, our Shattering Star into Eternity Surge. Pretty big damage here. I get bashed. Now, this guy should have cloned immediately on this bash, but instead, he waits until 0.2 seconds is left so I can actually kick that clone. So that was really bad by him, because honestly, if I got cloned there, it would have been a lot harder. I get cloned kind of late. He does get the kick there, and I knock him back on this clone. There is a chance that if I was a little faster reacting, I probably could have procced my hover and hovered to him and knocked him up to interrupt that one, and then probably slept him off of it. But either way, we go for the sleep right now, I believe, and we land it. And yeah, so this is really bad for them. They don't have Trinket, they don't have Bubble. I should be pressing my Eternity Surge here in a second, which I do, but I get hodged. And I'm like, man, I wish I had a Dispel here, but I know my Shaman's at 150k health. He does not have the globals to spend for a Dispel. But this is just on bad positioning from me. Realistically, as this guy's walking towards me, I stop, and I should have just kept walking and pressing Disintegrate, because I think I would have killed. But either way, Monk presses Karma to make himself basically not a kill target here so that the Druid can focus entirely on this Rep Pally, which isn't bad. I do root to the Windwalker, though the Shaman rooted him as well, so it was kind of wasted. I do Sleepwalk the Windwalker here, just trying to peel super hard for my Shaman. I just want to live another 30 seconds. In 30 seconds, we win 100%. They have no cooldowns left. They will have an Iron Bark, but that's about it. They will also have Trinket. Also about it. Neither of those are enough to protect you. I was like, maybe we could just kill here. Basically, every single time I have Shattering Star Eternity Surge is a time where we can possibly kill somebody. So we're just cranking it out every single time we have it. You guys have to press it every single time you have it. If you don't, you are whiffing damage. You need to do it every 20, basically like every 22 seconds, around that range. Because basically, your Eternity Surge resets, and so does your Fire Breath on the same exact cooldown. And it resets based on how many Disintegrates you do. So definitely spam out Disintegrates when you're not bursting. And yeah, this clone probably could have been prevented if I just jumped off this pillar here, but instead I stayed on top. Outside of this, I grip my Shaman really far from my Warrior, but I know my Warrior is pretty good here. They don't have a lot of burst up. So I grip my Shaman mad far, super far here. And yeah, I just start cranking. I see that I have my burst go in 4 seconds, so I'm just kind of waiting around here. There's really no reason for me to go crazy. I do use my burst right here, and I go for a deep breath, and I could have killed the Ret here with my Warrior, but instead I go to the Druid. I want to split pressure them as much as possible, make this pretty much impossible for them to win. And yeah, we end up killing actually I think the Eternity Surge here. It hits both. It hits the Druid and the Ret, but the Druid shadow melds it, so it doesn't do damage to the Druid. My Disintegrate or my Deep Breath did, but it did like 160k to the Ret here, and my Warrior just executes him. But I was about to come off and tip the Scales Fire Breath into double disintegrates on the druid. But yeah, our entire goal is to force everything from them so that our second go we can basically kill 100% of the time. There's like pretty much nothing they could have done there at the end. They didn't have any buttons left at all. And the Windwalker, for some reason, instead of being near his team, he was, let's see, let's look at this angle. He's all the way on this pillar with our Shaman, which is terrible for them. This Windwalker is not going to solo my Shaman. My Shaman has shield wall active. Realistically, their kill target here, because I have a shield wall as well, is actually the Warrior. But there's nothing they could do here. At this point in the game, it was a little far too late, I think. But yeah. So we cranked them there, and then this is the last round we're getting into, and I think this round goes pretty good too. Not much again for them to do. Even though we're playing Ret Devoker, you'd think it would be a little harder, but it's actually not. This ends up being pretty quick, pretty easy. So yeah, as you can see, get the Null Shroud up, and I want to get aggressive. I don't want them to aggress on me. I do get purged, and that purge actually takes off my Mark of the Wild and my my buff instead of Null Shroud. Thank God. Finally, it doesn't dispel. This is a horrible whiff by me, by the way. I should have rooted first. But yeah, what I was thinking here in this moment is this actually isn't too bad, because I'm forcing the Shaman this way, which is forcing them line of sight heavy on their DPS here. So I'm like, oh, I'm just going to crank these DPS pretty hard. You can see the Shaman's coming out of this pillar here. This Warrior is super far out of line, so I just send damage on him. Boom, big damage. And that forces the Shaman into the open note here, and I also forced Die by the Sword immediately, which felt really good. So I'm running now at this point. I'm like, I don't want to die. We already forced pretty good cooldowns. You can see right here, I fixed a mistake that I did in the early game. When I pull the Windwalker, I ended up sleepwalking him here, which is perfect. He can't get dispelled. He does get tremored out, I believe, but either way, maybe not. Maybe he's just in. Yeah, I think he doesn't, which is crazy. He gets cloned off, though. And I'm hitting into this shield wall. This is bad for me, honestly. But we're so close to killing this guy that it's almost, like, worth it. But, yeah, you can see we crank this dude. 100k health. This is Rally Cry. And we do crank him. He was running in for the link. I think he should have just tossed it. He really didn't want to link, though. He had Ascendance and Rally Cry up. I just think he should have, though. We didn't have cooldowns active, so there's really no reason for him to die here, but his positioning was really bad. Once he came out from that wall, like early game here, and we started abusing him, this is when it all went downhill for him. If he just went to this pillar instead of sitting in the open here, so like you can see, I pull the Windwalker, I sleep him here, that way he's out of the picture completely, making it a 2v3, and we're just parsing the Shaman. And because the Shaman's in the open, there's no reason for me not to. He does shield wall. We're still cranking him through it too, which is terrible for them. I do go for like a trinket knock up there, but it didn't matter because we hodged, which is really good. I do my standard Shattering Star into Eternity Surge into a Fire Breath here. Boom. Now he's at like 100k health. He does get rallied, and this Windwalker does get back to me, but I already have one. I got precogged there because I don't know. One of them hit into something. What did they try to kick there, actually? Let's see. They tried to kick Eternity Surge, and when they missed, they gave me precog, so I'm just able to free cast here entirely. And yeah, in that precog, the Shaman dies. But yeah, so basically the idea is for Devastation Evoker is you have to be very proactive with your buttons. Again, let's look at the beginning of this game. So yeah, so I press Dragon Rage, and I immediately pressed my Shield Wall and my Renewing Blaze, making myself a non-killable target. You can see they have to go my Druid here. This is a terrible Deep Breath, though, by the way, so don't pay attention to that. But I always almost press my first Shield Wall, my Renewing Blaze in the opener, if they press cooldowns. And this just makes it so that I'm no longer the kill target. There's no way they can kill me, and I'm chilling. Like, if I didn't press, I could have possibly died there. And now we're going to sleepwalk this guy, and we're so cake, dude. This is like free now. Super free. I will say my Druid did have to Ironbark and Bark Skin in this opener, so that was kind of painful. But outside of that, you know, we're kind of just cranking. I think almost every game. Let's look back at this game too. This was a long one. Let's see if we can get to the beginning. Beginning. Alright, so like right here. Walking out. Boom. Immediate. Shield Wall. Renewing Blaze. Dragon Breath. Or Dragon Rage. And I go for Oppressive Roar. I get my second Essence Burst. And this is so bad from them right here. Like, we can easily kill anything. I probably could have killed the Druid here, honestly. And I went for the kill on the Ret, but I probably could have killed the Druid there with my Go instead. But either way, we force everything there. And there's nothing they can do about it, right? Because we have Null Shroud up. We have Null Shroud. And we have Shield Wall. And we have Renewing Blaze. So they can't kill me. They can't stop my damage. And they can't CC me. So literally, my damage is just free damage at that point. And that is exactly what you want to do. You want to make sure your damage is peaked. Like, you can see, let's see what my peak burst was there. When I land on all of them right here, and I have my Dragon Rage active, and I Eternity Surge, boom. I hit 220k DPS. I'm, like, consistent at 200k DPS right here. like literally 200k DPS this whole time. And I forced everything. And that was like entirely me. This warrior really didn't do much. And we forced Bubble, Ironbark, Bark Skin, Overgrowth. Like, we forced all of that. And my warrior didn't have to do a single button. So that just goes to show you how high your burst could be. And that was entirely worth me trading an Obsidian Scales and a Renewing Blaze for. There's no reason why I shouldn't press Obsidian Scales and Renewing Blaze if I'm going to force a Bubble, an Ironbark, a Bark Skin, Overgrowth, everything like that. So, like, that trade is so worth it for me. And that saves my Shaman from having to press buttons. It saves my Warrior from having to intervene and die by the sword me. So, yeah, just be very, very, very proactive with your button presses as a Devoker. And I think you'll do perfectly fine. I hope you guys enjoyed this definition and explanation of how I live as a Devastation Evoker. I've reached pretty high ratings, so right now I'm 2,200 in 3s, I'm 2,129 or something like that in 2s, and I'm low-key, guys. I haven't caught up on the series for 0 to Legend, but I'm 2,300 right now in Solo Shuffle, and tonight on Twitch, I plan on pushing that 2,400 in Shuffle, so if you guys want to check it out, be there or be square, you know what I'm saying? I'm just saying. Go check out my Twitch. It's going to be linked in the description below. It'll be in the comments below as well. I hope you guys have a wonderful rest of your day. If you have any questions at all, leave them down below in the comments. I respond to each and every one of you. I love hearing from you guys. Check out my Discord. I'll see you guys again soon. Peace.